technique number 3 in the orange belt curriculum of the Kenpo Karate for Christ is attacking mace. Attacking mace in this particular technique could be in reference, the name could be in reference to what the opponent is doing or what your first response is going to be. Because the attack in this case is going to be the left foot's forward and they're punching with the right hand. So it's a right cross punch is the attack. So as that attack is coming towards you, they advance with the left foot, but they punch with the right. And you're going to see this attack will show up again with our final technique in this level. We'll have another response to this. So this is kind of introducing a family of those cross punch attacks that we've got several techniques that are going to deal with that. But as they do this right cross attack, we also respond with a right cross. So attacking mace could be in reference to the attacker who's attacking you with a punch, or it could be in reference to your response, which is also going to be a right cross punch. So as the punch comes in, directly in, our first move here is, again, we're advancing here, orange belt. We're moving in, we're inward block with the left hand here to that punch. So I'm going to be on the outside of his arm this time. We're moving almost towards the back side. Rather than staying between his arms here, I'm going to be, boom, past the back side. So I'm inward block, that punch. And immediately I'm going to keep this arm up, but I'm going to pivot and cross punch to the ribs right underneath his arm where he tried to punch me. So our response is the same as their attack. They attack with the right cross, we defend with the right cross. But it's step 2. Step 1 is always blocked. I'm trying to do them at the same time because you can't both block and punch. You won't have very good of either. It kind of cancel each other out. So you want a full advance with that inward block, pivot, neutral bow, pivot all the way to that forward bow as you do the cross punch. So you've got all the power, and I'm coming all the way from chambered here, bam, in order to crush the ribs. There. Now keep this hand up right at his elbow, because if you drop it down and leave it in space and their arm's still there, they can just hit you in the face with this outward elbow strike. You've got to have that arm up, keep that arm up, and monitor the arm that they still have in space. We don't want to ignore that. Now from here, I'm going to go for a grab. Now we talked about in the last technique, your fingers in a situation where it's like, okay, it's dangerous, you're not going to have a lot of those fine motor skills to just reach out and grab here. What the technique calls for is you want to be able to cross grab here. I want to take my right hand, I want to grab his right wrist here. I want to be able to grab it and pull. That's what the technique calls for. Now if I just try and reach out and grab that hand out in space, where that hand can move out in space pretty quickly and easily, you're going to have a hard time getting it. Bill Cosby, who I like to listen to, once told a joke about how he had come through, he was an educated guy and he had been a tennis player, so he's also an athlete, and he thought he was fairly fast and athletic, and he found out one day he wasn't, and it took his 4-year-old little daughter to teach him he wasn't very fast or athletic, because here he is thinking he's a big shot athletic guy, and he has informed his 4-year-old that she can't have a cookie, but she's already grabbed one. So she's holding a cookie and he's saying, "You can't have a cookie, give me the cookie." And he's trying to take the cookie from her, and here's a little 4-year-old, and he can't get the cookie because she's just all over the place. And he's just trying to get it. You can't necessarily in a second snatch a fist out of the air here. And that's what this technique is trying to show us. Again, just the fine motor skills of using our fingers are already going to be somewhat compromised with the factor that this is an engagement of someone trying to hurt us. You're in a fight type of situation or a combat type of situation. You lose a little bit of those fine motor skills. So you're not going to be able to just reach out and grab that right wrist with your right hand in order to do what you need to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach forward to where, if our goal is the right wrist, then we're going to follow up and go for a different target. Because the hand can move quickly in space. It's going to be hard to snatch. But the hand is connected to the elbow, which is connected to the shoulder, right? And as you move closer and closer to the center of the body, that gets a little bit harder to move around in space. So after this cross punch, rather than trying to, boom, just grab that wrist here, which could be anywhere here in space, I want to circle up to the shoulder. come up on their right shoulder here, because it'll be harder for their shoulder to move out of the way, and I'm going to start my grab way close to where the arm connects to the body. And then even if, from this punch, even if they're pulling their arm back, they'll be pulling it as you funnel down their arm from their shoulder all the way down to their wrist. And if they're pulling back, they'll actually be coming to your hand that way. And it's a much easier way as you funnel down that arm, and so you can get a good snag at the wrist, rather than trying to just catch it out in space. So my next step, step 1 is going to be that block. I advance. Step 2, I'm twisting with a right cross punch under the arm to the ribs. Step 3, I'm coming up onto the shoulder with my right hand. I just circle up and then funnel down as I grab that wrist. And once you snag that wrist, I'm going to pull with the wrist, and at the same time with my right knee, I'm going to thrust in. And my target in this case with that knee is onto the leg. I want to hit the nerves in the side of the leg we talked about with gift of destruction. When you're doing the knee there, how you can just frog the leg. You come up about a third there, or you come down from the hip about a third, depending on your height, which one's easier. Same target here. We're going to hit, grab, we're pulling, boom, right into the side of that leg, causing that frog reaction there. And I'm going to plant forward. My foot should plant between their feet. Then we're advancing again, right? Advances once, I twist and punch, I reach up and grab. I'm going to advance again with this knee and plant my right foot between both their feet. And I'm going to follow up with a left cross thrusting uppercut. It's a new punch here. We did an uppercut in the last technique that was a hooking uppercut to the chin. This is a thrusting uppercut. Instead of hooking straight up, I want my force to thrust in. And it's not off the lead this time, it's off the backhand. It's a cross uppercut. So you have to drop a little bit, drop your weight down, because I need weight on my left leg in order to have power in my left side punch. And we're going to drive that punch into the same spot you hit with your cross punch. You're going to hit that same spot again, right underneath the arm, right at the ribs. So whole thing together, attacking mace, inward block, cross punch to the ribs. I reach up and grab, I'm funneling down, catching the wrist, pull them into the knee here to the right leg, and as I plant down, I'm doing this cross uppercut to their ribs, same spot. That's attacking mace.